Welcome back to the second episode of the Ace Trainer Podcast. We got some updates to the 2025 Championship Series to go over. Gabe, I'm really excited about all these changes. I kind of briefly went over them already. How you feeling?
I'm definitely feeling pretty excited. I think this is, a major change. We've had pretty much the same, structure, like when it comes to, like needing like X amount of points, like how many rounds like we're gonna have, like at a regional championship. We've kind of had the same, structure, except with like pretty small, changes here or there. For the past, it seems like 10 years. So, a lot of, major, things to go over today, and it, kind of makes the game feel actually like pretty fresh. So, yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about, and I'm pretty excited to hop into it. I definitely think there's some good, some not so good. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of everything here.
Yeah. Overall, I think there's a lot of good changes in here. And also seeing like the schedule just made me excited to start like booking more trips for the new year. So here I'll start up a screen share. We can take a look at this document that the Pokemon Company posted. I'm just gonna skip over to the important parts. So as we can see, the qualification system is changing, and instead of having a CP structure, we're going to be having a set number of players from each rating zone, age division, and game. Now, if we look at the table down here, it looks like US and Canada, we're going to be having the top 125 Masters qualifying for Worlds. And of course, Europe is about the same, Latin America slightly less, and then Oceania and the Middle East and South Africa having smaller numbers as well. Gabe, what do you think it will take to be 125th at the end of the next year?
So we saw this previous season. I think you needed around to be in the top 125, 600 and like I think 50, 60 points. I think like something around there is like what you needed. I don't really know how many points you're going to need just because there's so many things like that have changed. However, this is a substantial change. Things are it's definitely going to be significantly harder to qualify. For North America, we saw, I believe, about 270 players, get around that 600 point, threshold. So cutting the amount of, players by over half is, definitely going to be a
Mm-hmm.
substantial change, for sure. So I'm actually kind of surprised to see Europe have the same amounts, because I know like it's usually, I mean, they've typically needed about 100 points less.
Yeah.
To get their invite. So it looks like they're trying to keep, like the major three regions all pretty much the same, which is definitely, kind of surprising. But yeah, it's like definitely a huge change for sure.
And something else I was thinking about with this new structure is that next year for Worlds, we won't be able to know if we have a Worlds invite until like after NAIC, right? So there will be no um, like booking your trip in advance, right? Like imagine you're like 100th place going into NAIC. Um, you still can't book your trip to, I don't know, Hawaii this time, but wherever it is next time. So that was something interesting that I thought is a little downside of this kind of system. What do you think of that? Do you think that matters, or
Yeah, so I think kind of like as the season like goes on, we'll kind of get like somewhat I think of like an idea of what, like the range of points you're going to need. I personally think that heading into NAIC we'll kind of, have I would say like probably the top like 50 or 60 players are all probably like going to be locked. That's just, kind of like my assumption. However, like those spots from like 70th, like all the way down to like 125th, can definitely change for sure. It kind of
Mhm.
reminds me of like during COVID, we had the Players Cups and it was top, I think like X amount of people. So I think it's gonna be something along those lines where like maybe towards like the end of the season we kind of get an idea. But yeah, it's like definitely surprising because I mean like I always try and get like my invite in the first like 3 to 4 months and just like
Mhm.
once I get that I'm like cool, like the pressure's off. However, now there's a chance to be like sweating it out. I definitely think like heading into NAIC those bottom like 25 to 30 slots are all going to be kind of up for grabs for sure.
Mhm. And so my understanding, there's also we're gonna get into it here in a sec, but there's also invites for regional winners and like IC top fours. Um, and I believe like those don't count, right? So potentially
Correct.
down to like 130th or like 135th or so.
Yeah, so
No.
Yeah,
will
so
also get
those
invites,
do
right?
not count. Yeah, so something else that's kind of important is I assume, for example, if 125th place, let's say, has 700 points, and then like 100 and let's say 30th also has the same amount of points, I think they're probably going to give the invites to um I think they're probably going to
Both.
do, yeah. So like I
Yeah.
assume that's how they're going to do it. So this like 125 for Masters is probably going to be around 135, I would assume, kind of, um for that range. But I also think that's because I think last year it was IC only first and second got their invite. So the fact that top four gets it now is also nice. And they also added in, I don't think this was a thing for last season, but also special events. Whoever wins a special event also gets, I think, their world championship invite as well, which I
Oh,
don't think we had last season.
okay.
I don't
Yeah,
exactly
no, I don't
know.
think so.
Yeah. So that's also a big change as well.
Okay, and then yeah, we can see here. Here's the new table for championship points. I don't really know what the point of doing this was, but it looks like they've buffed both regional and international points. Essentially, this just makes locals less important, I think, because these events are awarding so much CP,
Yeah. They didn't change
and it,
local points. So,
no,
yeah.
and it'll also inflate everyone's points at the end of the year. So it looks like they what did they do? They put a 1.5 times multiplier on all the points. Oh, they did this so they could scale the points further down. That makes sense.
Yeah,
See, like,
so top 1024 gets points at a regional championship. And in the past it was only top 512. So I think that's, one
yeah.
of the big changes. Last season we saw winning a regional got you 200 points and top 32 in an IC got you 160, whereas now top 32 at an IC gets you 350, whereas winning a regional gets you 350. So the scale has been kind of adjusted to make the international championships give, like
Mm.
significantly more points. So yeah, that's also something that's pretty important to look at. And then we also have the BFL. That's a big thing. 6. What are your thoughts
Yep.
on that? It isn't separated like we've seen in the past, which is a huge change as well. So I'd love to know what your thoughts are.
I mean, I like that it's combined in the sense that it kind of reduces the BFL. Like people wanted lower BFLs. This kind of does that, right? This is going to mean your 6 best finishes. It's probably going to be like your best 2 internationals and then your best 4 regionals, probably something like that, or depending on what events you travel to. But I like this. I think it promotes stronger finishes, right? So people who have 4 top 8s at regionals and then like 2 top 32s or 64s at ICs. I think that's going to be like kind of what I'm looking for this BFL for like the top level players. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Um, I like it. What do you think of it?
Yeah, so
Do you wish it was separate?
Yeah, so I kind of have a different opinion. I think that there was a lot of talk about, like the hope to like make the BFL like for the international championships like 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
Usually the international championships are the most expensive events to go to, and I think if they were, trying to cater to the players who couldn't like necessarily go to all 3 of them, I think that would like potentially be something that they did. However, I think they're trying to make the world championships significantly harder to get to, which like definitely rewards the people that can attend these tournaments. So I personally would have liked to see them keep the regional and special events best finish limit at 6, and then separated the internationals just with a BFL of 1, just simply because the point structure. I mean, like the fact you can get 750 points for winning an international is crazy to think about. So I definitely probably like would have liked to see that separate now, because I think that's like there's been some talk on social media about how many of these are you going to actually have to go to to get your invite. And I personally think that you're probably going to have to perform well at least 1 international, maybe 2, to be able to stay in the top like 125. So I can see why they combine them, but I definitely think it would not have hurted to separate them as well. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll have to
It
wait and
does
see.
discourage, like if you go, like say you have like 6 regional placements, right? Let's say you have like, I don't know, 6 top 32s, right? Um, if someone went to an internats and I mean, I think internats are a little harder. So let's say they like top 64 the internats. The nice thing about this BFL is they're losing a spot, right? So they're instead of gaining like 250 points on you, um, they're only gaining 125, which I like. Um, I think it means like overall, if you flop the ICs, you can still get there if you have good regionals, but you
Yeah.
have to have good regionals if you flop the ICs.
For sure. Yeah. I think
I
you
also,
need at least one good IC placement to feel like comfortable, I think. Like if you get
yeah,
like
yeah.
one top 32, that should be enough as, long as your regional championships are like somewhat solid. Yeah.
Hmm. I also think like there's nothing wrong with the international championships being way better than the regionals because like Pokemon, it's much higher production value, the cash prizing is way higher, people are trying a lot harder. So I think it makes sense to want to incentivize players to try harder at these international competitions.
Yeah.
Um,
They're
yeah,
so
I
much
think it
harder.
is good.
Like I think the average like skill level is definitely just like so much higher. Like I was looking at my past two NAIC runs, and I felt like 70% of the rounds that I played against, I hit someone who was like relatively known. Whereas
Mhm.
like at a regional championship, like I've had some runs, through 15 rounds where I've hit maybe only one or two people that I recognize. So I definitely think
Yeah,
it's, significantly harder to see success at the international championships. They're also usually substantially larger as well. Usually like the internationals are getting around 25, 26, 2,700 players, whereas regionals are kind of hovering between 13 to 1,400 to 2,500. It's a lot more.
yeah, they're bigger
Um,
now.
yeah, so the internationals are like definitely harder. So I can definitely understand them making it significantly harder to see success at them, and like also giving like so many points to them. So yeah, I can
Mhm.
see their thought process for sure.
Mhm. And moving on to my favorite part of the document, they increased booster pack
Let's
pricing.
go.
Yippee! No longer does top 64 get 18 packs. You actually get a whole box. And it looks like even top 128 gets a whole box if we hit. Oh, wait, yo, if we hit 1,000. So 128 is basically guaranteed a box.
Mhm.
And if we scroll over, okay, so it looks like, okay, 2,000
The 9 pack
players is.
thing is weird.
No, okay,
You
if I
get
get
nine
nine
packs.
packs. But I do like that they scaled the full box down a lot further. Personally, like I don't really enjoy opening Pokemon cards that much anymore. I've opened a lot of packs, so I just sell my boxes, and it's nice to be able to get a whole box, right? Loose packs are pretty unsellable, whereas the boxes are resellable.
Yeah.
So I definitely like that.
You get
I
three
think it.
boxes for 32, right?
Hmm,
For anything
no,
over 2049. Yeah, yeah. So anything other 2049, top 32
no,
gets.
no.
Oh, it's only
It's
72?
um it's
Oh,
72, yes,
gotcha.
with two boxes for top 32, but three boxes scales down to top 16. I feel like we're mostly going to be looking at this 2000 plus
Yeah.
chart for most of the large North American regionals. Some of them, like maybe some of the European ones, some of the
Some of the
West
West Coast
Coast
ones, yeah.
ones, potentially Vancouver. Like I think Vancouver would have even been in this. I don't even know if there was 1,000 players at Vancouver last
No,
year.
there was like I think 900. I think there was 8 or 900 max at Vancouver. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
so then
Vancouver's
in
huge.
that case, but no matter what, top 64 is getting a box now, so that's nice to see.
Yes, I think this is like really nice because, I think that people have kind of felt like you have to get at least top 32 for like the event to be like worth something. But the fact now that you can get top 128 and get 36 packs, that's great. Like I think that's really really good. I think that's probably one of their best things that they have done. I typically like to either hold on to my boxes or like sell them. So I think this is a good thing. Yeah, I definitely think this
Hmm.
is probably one of the best things that they did. Yeah, so it's cool, and the
I,
fact that top 16 gets 3 booster boxes, that feels pretty crazy.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
nice. But yeah,
I also like that the packs scale down super deep. Like sometimes if you're having a bad run in day two, it can feel like your rounds kind of have no meaning,
yeah,
right? Like you're sitting at, I don't know, like a record where maybe you could make like 128, right? And you're like, hey, why am I even playing out my rounds kind of thing?
yeah.
Um,
You're playing for
Now
like
you
a
have
hundred
kind of some.
dollars, just still something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, right. So now at least like even when you're having a bad day in day two, you're still playing for something. Um, Whether it's 18 packs or full box even. It's nice that you can be playing for a full box like deep into the bottom tables of day two. I
Yeah.
think it's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I definitely think also, for like the casual audience, I think that at least playing for like those 9 packs is, like something. So I think you
It
probably
is,
have to go
yeah.
like 6-3 maybe to get top 512 at some of these regionals, and like, you get at least, something. However, the thing that's going to be interesting is when you get your prizes now, the fact that there can be, 512 people in line to get your prizes is going to be insane. Like,
Yeah.
that's that's definitely one of the things that I'm not really looking forward to is having to wait in those, very large lines to get your prizing, because there's going to be hundreds of more like people doing that. Because I mean, like, pretty much the only people that got like any type of prizing in the past was just like the top 64 players, right? So now,
Mhm.
like, there could be potentially, 4 to 5, like 100 people in line to get that. So I guess that's one of like the only negative things. Maybe they expand
Yeah.
like
They
that
must
area. Yeah, they
be
gotta
able to.
expand it, because usually that
Yeah.
table's like really small and there's like 5 or 6 people. Like, yeah, like they're definitely gonna need like 15, people like to hand out
Yes.
all these booster packs and prizing. So yeah,
Oh, it's gonna be funny. Like at the end of day two, everyone is gonna get in line for prizing, which is gonna be kind of funny.
yeah, to get those
Um,
9 packs. Let's go. Let's get them 9 packs or those 18 packs.
hmm. I
Yeah.
wonder, I wonder, do you think they'll give out like top 5 12 packs on Saturday night? Or do you think they'll tell people they have to come back Sunday morning? Because
That's a
like
good
as this,
question. I feel like they're probably
yeah,
gonna have to come back on
on
Sunday,
Sunday
simply
morning, I think so.
because like once the final round is done, like they're like pretty quick at like trying to kick like
Yeah,
the
everyone
like people
out. Yep,
out.
yep.
Yeah, because I don't know if they have like a curfew. I'm not entirely sure, but they're like pretty good at trying to clean up the convention center like as quickly as possible. So I'm going to assume that they don't really want to have to deal with like 200 people just like waiting to get their prizing. So I'm going to assume you probably have to come back Sunday, but like I could be wrong. Yeah,
Mhm.
like we'll see for sure.
Yeah, we'll see. Because personally, well, sometimes you're going back to the venue anyways, but I would be kind of annoyed if I had to go back the next day for my 9 packs. I would be like, okay, do
Yeah.
I even bother? Um, but anyways, it's nice. Bunch of packs, little inflation. I would have liked to seen like some kind of talk of like exclusive promo cards. I guess this doesn't mean that they won't do it, but that'd be really cool.
I think they mentioned something as well that they're trying to like, possibly add in some things in the future. I don't exactly know like where it is, but it was somewhere in this document that they're, looking to like reward like the most like committed players or something.
Oh,
Yeah. Dan TDM made a post about it online about how like they mentioned something. So, and we'll
cool.
see. Hopefully they add something a little bit more. I think the promo cards like would be like super cool. I think Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, and also One Piece all, have like some like types of promo cards. I know like the One Piece ones are like super super expensive as well, and
Yeah.
it shouldn't be too hard to print these as well. So, hopefully we get some like type of promo card as well, because it shouldn't be like super hard, to get that, done for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, something with this exclusive artwork, maybe make it something playable,
Yeah.
that'd be really cool. Um, Onto the cash prizes. We had a scare this morning. I think they posted the wrong table the first time, but it's fixed now. It's just the same cash prizing
Yeah.
as
I
last
almost
season.
freaked out when I saw it.
Yeah. I woke up late enough that I never saw the original table. I just saw this one, so I was really confused. I saw everyone complaining on Twitter, and I was like, "What? It's it's correct. What are you guys talking about?" But
Yeah, I think it said 7,500 for first, and then it said I think 750 for top 32. So I kind of got the hope
yeah,
that that was a typo, and 750 would be for top 64. I'm not 100% sure exactly how
yeah,
they messed that up so badly. I know they've been kind of known for having some pretty bad typos, but yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like, I wouldn't say I'm surprised the prize pool's the same. I'm kind of disappointed, but they changed it last year, and it took them so many years to change it in the first place. We saw substantial
mhm,
growth as well. Maybe they're gonna kind of like try and use this year to see, okay, like how much more growth do we actually see, and then like maybe like the growth like continues to spike, and we hit maybe 3,000 players, 35 and like 100 as well. Like maybe we continue to see that growth and growth and growth, and then like maybe next year they turn first place into 15,000, maybe they add like top 64. I'm not
mhm.
100% sure, but this is only the second year of the prize pool being inflated so much, so I'm not necessarily like really disappointed, but I definitely would have liked to seen top 64 prizing for regionals. That's something that I would have liked. Like even
Yeah, that
500
was
like would have been
my
nice.
yeah, that was my one thing. $500 for 64 would have been good, but you're right. They did increase the pricing huge for this season, so it's kind of hard to expect them to increase the prize pool 2 seasons in a row. So maybe next year we'll see a boost there. International prizing is the same, 25,000 for first, scaling down to top 64, getting 2,000, and as well, Worlds looks like it's the same. I believe this is what we're competing for this year as well,
Yep,
right?
exactly the same. No changes. Top 32, 5,000, and then scales all the way up.
I'm kind of curious. I have no idea with like VGC and Go and stuff, but
I don't think they changed. I don't think I
they didn't
heard
change.
like anything on social media that they changed.
Go
I could be wrong.
20,000 for Go World Champion. That's kind of hype.
Yeah.
Do the Go players get like the cards, like the you're the world champion trophy cards? Do they get
I
those?
believe so. Yeah. No, I think Unites, Go, and also VGC gets like cards. Yeah, I think they all get the same thing and the trophies and stuff.
Okay. What's this? Travel prize updates. Looks
This
like
actually
they're
changed.
updating. Oh yes, okay, yes, some cool things here. The priority registration for top 32 each quarter, right? That's how these work.
Yep.
All
So
right.
people who finish in the top 32, yeah, like every single quarter gets priority registration, which is a fantastic thing. Like this is, like one of their best, changes. The international championships have, very high demand. It can be, pretty difficult to register for these events. So, like them rewarding the top, 32 people with priority registration is very, very nice. I think that's the only change. I don't think they changed, stipends at all or
No.
like anything like that. But yeah, the priority registration is great. I think that, like definitely was something that kind of became a problem the past, 2 seasons where, like registering was, super hard for these events. So I think that, giving people like some incentive to, like continue to go to regionals or, cups and challenges and stuff like that to stay in the top, 32 so that you have, priority registration is, definitely a good thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love this. I love to see this change. The one thing they didn't change stipend travel award wise that I did also want to see was a reduction in League Cup and Challenge BFLs. They actually did reduce it. They reduced the BFL overall for cups and challenges from 6 to 4.
Yep.
But you can still get 4 finishes per quarter for these travel stipends, which is a little bit of a grind. I do enjoy playing locals though, so
Yeah.
not so bad for me. But I think that is a change that would be good.
I would say the nice thing about it is that you probably only need to go to a couple cups or challenges per quarter now to at least stay in the top 32. So like I think that like I might kind of be in a position where like I value the priority reg, so I might just go to maybe like 2 or 3 cups or challenges per quarter now and be like, okay, like this should be enough to keep me in the top 32. So I think it's okay. I think that lowering the BFL for locals has like its benefits. So yeah, we'll see.
Yep. Moving on to the, I think this is the biggest change. Really, is they're adjusting the whole tournament structure. So now instead of playing 9 rounds into a day 2 and then 6 rounds into top 8, it's going to be mimicking the world system. So if we look at the table, if we have 1,000 people, we're going to play 12 rounds. We're going to play 8 rounds day 1, and you're going to need 18 match points to advance to day 2. So you're going to have to go 6-2 there. And then I think it also said there's asymmetrical cut at all the regionals. I'm not sure. Do you know? Is it asymmetrical cut?
Yes.
Yes.
Asymmetrical cut from 8th place all the way down to a maximum of 32 people. So I think it technically would be 8th through 40th if they all had the same record, right? Because if there's a maximum of 32 more people after like 8th place, then I think, but like that's probably like not going to happen. Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't think we'll ever get to the point where 8th seed and like 32 other people have the same record, but
not.
this is interesting for sure. I definitely think this is probably the biggest change overall. I think that we've kind of became so used to the 9 rounds, then like 5 or 6 rounds in day 2. This system was implemented I think over 10 years ago, and I think the system as well was built for 500 player regionals, 600 player regionals. I think once they got up to around 600 to 700 player regionals, we started to see the 6th round for the second day of competition. However, now we're at 2,500 players and we never saw the 7th round. So I think that the system that we have been like using for so long, it was not really prepared for like this amount of players. So I think that's kind of a reason like for this change, because I mean, like we were seeing people going 12-3 and getting like ninth or 10th place, which is like pretty insane. Like
Hmm.
I think 11 wins, one loss, and three ties, and like wasn't even guaranteed at the majority of events. Like
No,
towards the end of the season, like when events were getting 2,000, to like 2,500 players. So yeah, I think the
events
system that
like
we had in the past.
Orlando.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think the system that we saw in the past definitely, pretty outdated. I don't know if this is the answer, but I think it's definitely something that we should kind of see exactly just like how it is. Also ties, were significantly nerfed as well. For example, if there's 1,025 through 2,048, that means there's going to be just the 8 rounds, which means you have to go at least six. It's 6 and 2 to
Yep.
make it, or 503. Going 503 can be kind of difficult to do. I definitely think that 6-2 is like pretty achievable. But yeah, like what are your thoughts on that? Kind of, I think they're trying to make it so that ties aren't necessarily as much of a part of the game. I know in Japan ties are considered, I think, double game losses, so maybe they're trying to kind of move more towards that system. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, what are your thoughts, I guess, on that?
Yeah, I love it, honestly. I've kind of been a big advocate for devaluing ties. I think a lot of players in the game right now kind of play towards ties too much. And I think this will like even further, like it makes ties even worse. So I think it'll incentivize players who are maybe not trying to finish entire sets of games to do so in order to avoid ties and make day two. Um, I do think we'll still see a lot of ties,
Yeah.
and I think that'll like reduce the amount of people in day two a lot. I think we're going to see like a lot of people at records like 5-2-1 and 5-1-2, and they're not going to be making day two. And of course, if you go like 7-1-1, for example, you're a match point ahead of all the people who went 7-2. So I think there is still merit to having a tie or two. Um, they're not worthless, which I like. I don't think it should necessarily be a double game loss,
Yeah,
but I
that's like pretty
definitely like
severe.
seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, wow, you guys can't finish your games. You
Yeah.
suck at Pokemon. You both lose.
Yeah. To be fair, I think in
um,
Japan as well, the majority of their structure I think is best of one. So like tying
yeah,
isn't, it looks like it's pretty hard to tie in best of one as well. So I can understand like that perspective a little bit more. But yeah. I know we
yeah.
saw I think it was Andrew Hedrick who ended up like winning the North American International Championships. He won into day two, I believe, at 6-2-1. Natalie
Mm-hmm.
Millar, who got top eight, I think she went in at 6-1-2 or 6-2-1, which means that if we were using, this exact same structure for that event, two people that saw, a ton of success at that tournament wouldn't have made it into day two. So that's,
Mm-hmm.
like a big thing to think about, because there are, quite a few, players, myself included, who have, started off, 6-2-1 or 6-1-2 and then have, seen success, from that record. So that's definitely like pretty interesting. I think that, gentlemen's agreements as well are probably going to be, you know, more of a thing head into next season, like whether or not that's a good
Mm-hmm.
thing, because I know like gentlemen's can be kind of a slippery slope as well. That's kind of the
Yeah.
problem with them. So I think that's potentially a slight negative, but I think we kind of got to the point where like going in at 6-2-1 when there's 250 players in day two, the majority of people going at 6-2-1 typically, aren't going to like get to the point where like they're maybe like top eight contention, because they literally have to win, I think, all 6 rounds and just kind of things like that. So I think that it's not a bad change. However, I'm definitely excited to see exactly like how it turns out, because we have seen like plenty of people start off 6-1-2 or 6-2-1, see tons of success at events. So we'll have to
Yeah.
wait and see.
Yeah. There'll also be less people IDing at 6-2, right? Like I'm pretty sure Drew Friedrich ID'd at 6-2, round nine of NAIC. So
Yes, yeah, he
maybe he
getting,
would
I
have just
believe.
played it out in one. Um, Also, something exciting on this table is that there's actually like a bracket for 4,000 to 8,000 people. That's kind of exciting to me. The idea that Pokemon thinks that the events might actually get over 4,000 people. They've put another kicker here, so that's kind of exciting to me.
Yeah, and then
Uh,
the day two Swiss rounds as well was drastically, decreased, pretty similar to Worlds. I
yeah.
think Worlds is only going to have 3 or 4 rounds for day two as well, so that's a big thing. I think they mentioned as well, right below that I think the fact that you had to play like 9 rounds and then 6 rounds for day two is just like such a grind. Like it's just such a grind to do that. So I think they're trying to kind of reduce that grind of like going in,
Mhm.
because like it felt like so bad to play like 9 rounds, make it into day 2, and then play 6 rounds and get
There's a lot.
absolutely
Yeah.
nothing, because like the majority of players who play all those 6 rounds don't really get anything, right? So I think that kind of reducing that a little bit, like down to 4 rounds, like definitely makes a lot of sense. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure to see, because there's gonna be a lot less people in day 2. Like I think that it might cut the like amount of people like playing in day 2 by probably at least 30 to 40%.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot. And I think it's gonna be good. There'll be less people showing up to day 2 with minimal chances of prizing,
Yes, it
right?
feels
There'll
like
be a
everyone
lot
kind of
of
has a shot.
people. Yeah, everyone will be kind of like there won't be many people better than 7-2, right? Like there'll be a couple 8-1s, couple 7-1-1s, right? But even if you're coming in at 7-2, you're really not that far behind the rest of the field. So I like that. And one other thing I wanted to talk about on this table that I think is interesting for the junior and senior divisions. They're mostly going to be in these brackets here, and they're going to be playing 2 day 2 Swiss rounds, which I feel like is actually kind of annoying, right? You come, you play your 6 Swiss rounds on day 1, right? Let's say you go 4-2 on day 1, right?
Yeah.
You show up to your next day, you play 2 rounds, and if you lose either of them, you're not making cuts. So it's just like, it just feels kind of weird.
Yeah.
Also, it's going to mean like
60
kids
doesn't
get
make
to
cut
play
most of
less
the time either.
Pokemon. Like if I like when I was 13, I just really wanted to play, right? So potentially being able to not play all 8 of the rounds because you had a rough start. I think that's like kind of negative. I feel like there could have been a better system for these lower numbers for the junior and senior divisions, but what do you think? Do you think you would enjoy this kind of tournament structure as a junior or senior?
So kind of the interesting thing about this is that, for example, from 65 to 128, you need to go 6-2 to make it, right? You need to go at least,
Like 4-2 to make day
oh, 4
two,
2,
and
4
then
2. Yeah.
you'll
4 2 to
probably
make
need to
day
be
2.
6-2 for
I don't
asymmetrical cut.
I don't necessarily know how much I'd like that, because I feel like there's going to be quite a few tournaments where there's like 100, like something players. You need to go at least 6-1-1 to make it into day 2. So you'll put yourself in a situation where you show up, you go 4-2, you make it to the second day of the event, you play your 2 rounds, and then you don't even make it in the top cut.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that kind of feels kind of bad. So I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this. I know that as well. A lot of kids have school, starting on that Monday. So, being
Hmm.
forced, to also show up, to the second day of the event with risk at getting, pretty much nothing is kind of a problem as well. So that's also kind of something to think about too, is I don't know necessarily how convenient this is, for the majority of players, because I mean, like pretty much every single event they're going to be forced to play on the second day, going in at 4-2 or going in at 5-2 doesn't necessarily feel the greatest, but I know that's it could cause some problems. But like we'll have to see though. I mean, the asymmetrical cut like definitely makes it nice, because there definitely will be like plenty of events where 6-2 like makes it into top cuts. So there's some things to think about.
It's going to be like a crazy asymmetrical bracket a lot in those. Like I feel like
It's gonna take
at the
time
senior
too to get these
regionals,
down. Like, yeah,
yeah, there's usually I feel like there's usually like 1 or 2 6-2s that make it in sometimes.
yeah.
Um, and so imagine there's like 6-2s all playing for like 7th and 8th place. It's a lot.
Is that
Um,
3 more rounds? Because like if there's, so like let's say
yeah,
there's eighth through like I don't know 15th or 16th place, which and they all have the same record. Let's say it's 6-2, then they have to determine. So they have to cut like let's say those 6 or 7 players all the way down to 1, which means that isn't that going to be like 3 extra rounds
yes,
potentially? Which means
3 rounds.
that's 3 extra hours, and then you cut the top cut as well, which means that yeah, this is gonna take a long
Wait,
time. Yeah.
wait.
Right.
It also means that if you make top 8, like if you go 6-1-1, you have to wait like three
Yes, you have to.
hours.
Yeah, that's like a
Like, what do
problem
you
because
do? You just have to hang out for like hours while the asymmetrical bracket plays out. That's actually annoying.
yeah, the asymmetrical bracket I think also for
Hmm.
masters is going to be definitely kind of interesting as well to see, because
Yeah.
I mean they're like okay, so for example, if you have to go at least, like 11, or I mean for this structure, if there's 13 rounds, if you have to go like 11-2 to make it, but 11, or I would say maybe like 10-1 is the bubble or something, and there's like 10 or 15 people like at that record, because there are going to be people that intentionally tie to
Onto the
guarantee their
bubble.
shot. Yes, I think that
Wait,
like there were
no.
people that intentionally tied because I think
I
that
feel
like they
like
can get into
that.
asymmetrical. I wouldn't be
No,
surprised. Really, you don't
no,
think
no.
so?
That okay, okay. So think of it. Well, I mean, people might do it, but I think it's not smart. Um, so if you're on that bubble, right, you're 10-2, you can either tie into the asymmetric cut, where you might have to win like 2 or 3 rounds to make cut, or you could just play that one round, win, and be in the top 8.
But like that tie would potentially guarantee you top 32 at very least, whereas
Oh, or like
losing
top
would give
6.
you top
Yeah.
64, and since top
Mm-mm.
32 gets $1,000, I think that like people are gonna kind of just like be like they're like,
Go
okay,
low, give me
like
top 16. I'll go through the grinder bracket. Maybe I'll make top 8. Okay.
I think
No,
this is
yeah.
gonna be a bigger mess than people give it like people are saying, because I mean if there's like I mean it's gonna be crazy because like if there's like 10 people at the same record, that means they have to play so many rounds
Four
to figure
rounds.
yeah, and that's another 4 hours, so it's like are they really like I
Are these
I
rounds
I
are
don't
these
know.
rounds going to be 75-minute best of 3 or 50?
I truly do not know.
You know, because like 50-minute, and because I need a winner. So like 50-minute best of 3, like sudden death game 3, like gosh, this is going to be a mess. We'll see. We'll see how
Yeah.
this asymmetric thing
Yeah.
is.
The more I thought about it,
Um,
I was like, oh wait, this is actually not as good as we, kind of initially thought. Because I guess their goal is to reduce like the fatigue, like for like the majority of players, but the top people who have to play through the asymmetrical are just going to be put through the ringer here. So yeah, and I think it's also kind of bad for the people who are first through seventh seed who are kind of just like, well, I have to wait and sit around for literally potentially 3 to 4 hours.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. I also feel like them saying like the system is better for fatigue is kind of BS. Like
Oh yeah, no,
it
it's not.
definitely this system when I see this system puts less strain on the tournament staff, right? We're cutting more people after day one. We're cutting juniors and seniors after 6 rounds, 7 rounds. It just means that, there's less match slips, there's less players in the venues, there's less judge calls needed, right? It's just going to help the tournament staff like run, I guess, more efficiently, or like with less staff members, or with less um, better turnaround times, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I think that's like the biggest reason that they made this change, is it's like better for the people organizing the tournament.
Yes, because I think it's a lot. Because like if there's 20 people, or like there's like the 7 people, who are first through seventh seed, and then like for the asymmetrical, let's say there's 10 other people who like have to play through that. I think managing like 15 to 20 people, for like several hours is significantly less strain than like having to
Yeah, it's like
manage a
manage
day two.
200.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think it lowers the strain level on the judges. However, for the players who have to, deal with the asymmetrical top cut, it's definitely going to be interesting to see, and I'm excited
Mhm.
to see exactly like how it turns out. I know we saw the asymmetrical cut wasn't used last season for 2023 Worlds, right? It was used for 2022 Worlds, I believe. Which we saw, I
I
believe.
think so. I think
Yeah,
that's right.
we only saw one match. For asymmetrical top cut. Now, I'm not exactly sure, because their system was, significantly different for that event, but, I'm curious to see exactly how many people actually have to play through the asymmetrical. I got to assume in like most situations, there's going to be at least, 3 to 4 people like with the same record. So, I mean, we're
Yeah,
typically probably every time going to have to play, like 2 asymmetrical games, which means that we're
that's
extending
yeah.
it by 2 hours. So then you kind of have to make like the argument of like, should we just have kept the same system anyways? Because
Just
it
kept the
feels
extra rounds.
yeah, exactly. So I think
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of growing pains with this. I think they're probably going to realize that maybe this is not the perfect system. But we'll have to wait and see. I definitely think they took a major like leap of faith with this system, and so I'm gonna give him a chance. I'm gonna give him a chance. So we'll see. Yeah. Also, something that's worth kind of noting too, um, is for special events and regionals as well. Um, it's all going to be so for like special events, for example, there's a lot of special events that are just like single day events. For example, like the Puerto Rico SP,
Hmm.
that event is typically around 100 and 15 to 100 like 50 players. So the fact that that's a 2 day event now is also going to be kind of
They could
interesting. but I don't
They
know.
could also just play day two on day one, which I feel like they might do
They might
at
do
like
that, yeah.
regionals for seniors. Um, maybe. I feel like that would make some sense, right? You play your 6 rounds, you cut some players, and then you just play your day two that same day. Especially like SPEs, I think it makes a lot of sense to do that. I could definitely see them doing it like that for Masters SPEs, the smaller ones as well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I also mentioned at-home competitions. We don't exactly know. Um, they didn't word this perfectly because they mostly talked about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and like Pokemon Unite, but
Mm-hmm.
potentially maybe there's something like done on live
Something
for
with live.
championship points. I'm not 100% sure because
Live
it,
sucks. There's
yeah,
no
that's the
way they
problem.
can do it. There's too
I,
many
I mean,
bugs,
they did the Players Cup on
connection
PTCGO, so I don't
issues.
know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about this. I think they would have to update. They would have to make the online platform better to incorporate it into the tournament circuit. It would be cool to see. I'd be down to have some online tournaments. Like I know Magic does some of that, and I think One Piece does too. So that would be cool if our online client was not garbage.
Yes.
I guess the last thing we can talk about is this regional schedule. They put up a bunch of the dates.
Yep.
Special
Green ones are special events,
championships
yeah.
are green. Yeah. So we got Baltimore in September, um, Dortmund in September as well. I know we both went there last year.
Yep, exact same locations too. I think that's worth noting.
That was a
West
super hype
Holland.
event.
Yeah,
I
that's
definitely recommend going to Dortmund to anybody out there from North America and Europe, of course, as well, or
yep,
anywhere in the world, really. If you can get a decent price of a flight here, it's a great place. It's a nice venue.
yep. Fly to
Um,
Dusseldorf or Frankfurt usually. I think those are
yes.
like the best places. Um I think that Dusseldorf is about 30 to 45 minutes away from Dortmund. There's a lot of trains, and then Frankfurt I think is 2 to 3 hours. And there's a train that goes straight to Dortmund as well. So flying straight to Dortmund can be kind of tricky for a lot of people, but there are definitely some like airports that you can fly to that like you can take trains to. And then we also see Joinville as well, which is the same weekend, which is going to be in Brazil.
Hmm.
So Brazil's got their regionals and SPs too.
Got
Kentucky.
Kentucky on
Yep.
the 11th of October. Lille in France.
I
That's
don't
one
know
I
if this is
might
the
go
same
to.
location.
Poland. Uh,
I
I
don't
have
know
no
if
idea.
this
I
was the
didn't go
same
last year.
location, but yeah.
Did you go to Lille last year?
I did not. I'm actually I tried to register and it filled up super quickly and I missed the first
Mm.
wave, I think the second wave, and there might have been like a small third wave as well, and I missed all of them. So last year there was definitely some, I guess, size problems with the event where there were, so many people trying to register, but they just didn't have the space. So I'm a little bit concerned. I don't know if this is the same location. But we'll see. Lille is also not insanely hard to get to. You can fly into London, and I think there's a train that goes straight to Lille. You can
Mhm.
also fly into Paris as well, I think, and there's a train or something like that. So there should be some pretty simple transportation that you can take to get to Lille, as I believe it's North France, right? I think it's like right at the tippy top of
I have
northern
no
France.
idea.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I also got Gdansk. I don't know if this is the same venue, but this event is back. We saw this event last year as well. I believe in November. I think it was the week after LAIC. I think it was Gdansk in Melbourne. Or no, it was I think Gdansk in Brisbane. I could be wrong, but that was the week after
I
LAIC.
always
So yeah,
I always thought it was Gdansk. Is it not?
I have no clue.
Oh, God.
Some of these European names, I
Yo, the
apologize if I'm butchering.
ANSK is
Yeah,
a definitely a weird combo of letters there.
yeah.
Um, yeah, a couple more American ones. Another German regional. We got two regionals in Germany. That's cool, I guess. I like going to Germany, but
Yep. We had Stuttgart last year, by the way. So exact same
okay.
tournaments. Yeah. Stuttgart was, I believe, in December of last season. I went. A pretty cool place. The venue is good. So yeah, not really anything bad to say about Stuttgart. Pretty accessible as well. I believe it's south of Frankfurt. I think there's a train from Frankfurt that goes there. I'm straight there, which is pretty easy. Um, Buenos Aires is also a special event once again, and we just had this, I think, event also a couple of months ago, so it's back too. So that's another SPE. Bogota as well has an SPE as well. So that's interesting to see a lot of Latin American special events to start the season.
Yeah,
That's like the one thing that I noticed is there's a lot of SPEs here. Not a whole lot of regionals for them, but the SPEs do exist. I don't know if that's, due to like legal reasons or gambling laws. I'm not
I
100%
think it
sure
is. I'm not
because
100% sure either, but
yep. And then this is also the week. I think that's Bogota is the week after LAIC or the week before. I could be wrong,
oh, right. Yeah.
but it's pretty close. It's the week
Hmm.
before Toronto actually. Yeah, so that's what it is. But
So
um
you could potentially like go to LAIC. Wait, there's no way LAIC is the same weekend as Stuttgart though.
I think oh wait no. So it goes LAIC, then I think the week after Sacramento, then the week after is Stuttgart, and then the week
I
after
see.
is Bogota. So there's one, two, three,
And
four. There's
Toronto. Oh my gosh.
five straight events. Yes, there's five straight
Crazy.
events, which is pretty crazy. Actually, there's actually six because it goes Buenos Aires, and then
Oh yeah. Yep.
LAIC. Actually, no, there's actually six straight because there's also
Wait,
Poland.
Poland.
So you could, yeah. So you could go to Poland, and then fly to Argentina, then fly to Sao Paulo, then fly to Sacramento, then go to Stuttgart, and then go
Oh
to
my
Bogota,
gosh.
and then finish off in
In
Toronto
Toronto.
right before the holiday season. If you really want to do the world tour, you can do that. That would be absolutely insane. I don't think I'm
Oh
going to
my
do that,
gosh.
but I would love
No,
to
no,
see,
no.
maybe Poke Duels, for example. I'm going to send this over to him and be like, all right, this
Yo,
is
gotta
your
hit them all.
ultimate challenge. This is the ultimate challenge. Can you do six straight, events? Oh, that would be crazy to see.
Oh my goodness. I think I'll probably hit up all the regionals.
Yeah.
The European ones.
Yeah, I'll definitely do the European regionals as long as I
And
can
then
register. So hopefully they increase
yeah.
venue size a little bit because some of these venues are the same. So I'm hoping maybe they're able to increase it a little bit because if they assume the growth is going to continue, then they're going to need to do that. But
And internationals are all the same locations. The dates changed a little bit. LAIC is about the same. I know they made
this is
the
way earlier.
UIC earlier. LAIC is earlier?
No,
Or Europe?
yeah, Europe's
Yeah, yeah,
February because it used to be in April, right? Like I think it was like
yeah.
almost always in April. Yeah, like we saw that event pretty much universally, at the beginning of spring. Now it's during the winter time. I know London, during the winter time can get quite cold. It's a lot of rain. I've heard it's kind of unpleasant, during this time of year.
Mm,
So we'll have to see. I thought that like April was actually like a pretty good time. However, without the Oceania events, there was kind of a major block because we saw last season there was LAIC, and then we had how many months? I was December, January,
like
February, March, April.
four,
It was like
5.
four and a half,
Now I
five
see.
months. Yeah, so they kind of
Yeah.
changed that a little bit, kind of
Yeah.
smushed them a little bit closer together, and then we have the North American International Championships at the same place, and that's kind of where the break is, where you have March, April, May. So it's about a
Right.
3.5 month break there, and yeah,
Yeah.
exact same location, right?
And I guess that's it for the 2025 Pokemon Championship Series updates. A lot of exciting stuff. I'm excited to see how this asymmetrical cut works. What days they'll play these extra rounds on, how much time will be given an asymmetrical cut. Some things I'm kind of left wondering, but I'm excited. I guess we kind of get to try it out at Worlds first. Kind of bonkers to me that the first time we're going to try a new structure is Worlds. It's very interesting to
Yeah,
uh,
I think it's the same as
do that.
VGC. I think the structure for VGC has been like this for quite some time. I could be
Okay.
wrong, but I think that they have some, like obviously the video game is like significantly different, but I know that I think 7-2 has kind of been like the universal thing to make it into day two
Mhm.
for VGC.
Well,
So
they don't have ties, right?
no, they do not have ties, I believe.
Yeah.
So maybe yeah, I mean we'll have to wait and see. So definitely will be kind of interesting. But yeah,
Hmm.
I think the biggest thing is give this a chance. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people, kind of like to jump to and saying, "Oh, like the system, like it's terrible." Like they like to go, kind of always on like the drastic end of things, and like the system is amazing or the system is terrible. I'm kind of in the middle. Give the system a chance. Like we have a season to kind of see
Mhm.
exactly like what the things are. Like we know that they are, reading things on social media. So let's just give it a chance and see how it is. If the system sucks, then there's a good chance that they're probably going to make some changes, heading into the 2025-2026 season. I think that we have to, um, enter this and just say, all right, let's see how it is. Like the World's Invite is like definitely significantly harder to get this season. But I think that you should be playing for the love of the game first over, pretty much anything else. Like the World's Invite is obviously, something to strive for, but is not something you have to get like every single season to, enjoy playing the Pokemon TCG. So give it a
Yeah.
chance. We'll see how it is. I'm excited. Um, yeah, and get back on the grind. I got to book a lot of flights now. So yeah, I've been looking at prices on flights already. I'm like, okay, like we can go here. How much is this going to cost? How much is this going to cost? So also something
Yeah.
that's worth, pretty important to say is book stuff ahead. Book stuff way in advance.
Yeah,
Hotels,
I'll be
things like
booking stuff
that.
soon.
Yep, refundable hotels. You save a lot of money on, things if you book them, 3 to 4 like months in advance. You'll save sometimes hundreds
Hmm.
and hundreds of dollars. Flights as well, the same thing. I'd recommend using, like Google Flights, to kind of see exactly, like how expensive the flights are. You can set up like the notifications as well. So like when a flight drops substantially, like they send you a message on your Gmail. So set up those notifications, book things ahead and, try and like budget the best you can if that's, something that like you worry about. So I guess those
Hmm.
are kind of, some of like my things that like I would recommend. But yeah, is there anything else that you have to say about the season structure or
No,
anything,
no,
Javier?
not really. I'm excited. I'm really excited. Um, I like change. It's exciting to me. I'm definitely a little nervous for this asymmetric thing, but
It probably
yeah,
won't be as bad
that's
as
all I
what
got
we're
to say.
thinking, but
No, I think they'll make it work. And I think that the lowered strain on the tournament staff is probably a good thing, as well as we have. It,
they
it gives
work
us,
hard. Like,
yeah,
like
yeah, they work hard, and this gives us room to grow, right? Like the old system, if we were eventually going to get to like 3,000, 4,000 person tournaments, like the tournament staff would be overloaded, and now it seems like they maybe have um,
yeah,
a bit of an easier time doing something like that. So,
yeah.
all right. I mean, I think we'll end our episode there. It's nice yapping with you, Gabe, and
Yeah.
we'll see everyone in the next episode.
Peace out, everyone.